Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Canine Connection podcast. So today we are going to talk about a couple of things. One of them is something that recently happened with Zesty. Now, I'm not going to get down in the weeds about the negative aspect of it. I want to talk about things I did to make it better. So I was out with my dogs. They were right next to me. We were out in a park. I turned a corner. Somebody had a very large Akita on like at least a 6-foot slip leash. In the blink of an eye, the dog had Zesty plowed halfway across the path, down on the ground, biting the living shit out of the dog. The guy's only attempt to get him off was to pull on a slip leash, which was futile. I was screaming at him. I did what I've been around, I've worked around dogs in situations. I know what you aren't supposed to do when there's a fight, etc. There wasn't a fight. Zesty was on the ground. This dog had him down. He was not letting him up. Couldn't get him off. And at a certain point, he had his mouth around Zesty's throat. And at that point, I was like, I have no other option at this moment in time. And I was like, I know this is potentially an extremely bad idea, but it was the only option I had left to me at that moment in time. Stuck my hand in his mouth, pried his jaws open. I knew how to position myself. So as soon as I had that, I was down on the ground. I could like elbow him, get his head away. Zesty got free. Blood everywhere, whatever. Right. So at that moment in time, I'm obviously extremely shaken up, adrenaline everywhere, blood everywhere. Zaina's off to the side. Luckily, my dogs are very reliable. She just was standing there. She wouldn't think of leaving or whatever. So, long story short, guys barely got this dog under control. Here's my predominant thought. One, I have to get my dog safely out of there. Two, I need to assess my dog for wounds, but I am extremely adrenalized right now and extremely freaked out. And I am a person that does not get like that. I hold it together. And I did hold it together because I extricated him from the situation, but I knew I was really adrenalized. So I was like, I run through options in that moment, right? So, got to get my dogs in the car. I was about 15 minutes from my Borneo kennel. My kennel manager is very level headed, very competent. I'm like, I need to get there as fast as I can. So, I get there. First thing I do is I don't even get my dog. I run inside and I get her and I ask her to take him out of the car and check him for me, because I did not want to take him out and be all like shaking it and like adrenalized, and I'm sure I reeked of chemicals to the dog, etc. Right? Again, I am thinking in terms of how am I going to get my dog to recover from this, right? So she gets him out. He's shaking like a leaf. She checks it, which is just an adrenaline bomb, right? If I hang over him, "Oh my god, are you okay?" Blah, blah, blah. It's just gonna make it worse. If I'm crying over him, trying to hug him, hold on to him, it's just gonna make it worse, right? I needed a neutral situation where someone could just be neutral and be like, "You're fine, it's all good," right? And that's how she was. She took him out of the truck, she told him to stand, she checked him over, tons of puncture wounds, etc., but nothing like, life threatening where I had to rush him to the emergency room. So she puts him back in his crate because it's safe. It's comforting there. I cleaned myself up because there was blood everywhere on
Mhm.
my face, etc. Right? Got myself real calmed down. And I'm like, okay, I want to immediately say to him, life is normal. Nothing has happened. Right? Now, were he in the car or something like that, I would have acted differently. But he was obviously shaken up, but I did not want to like perpetuate that. So
Yeah.
he grew up at the kennel. So a boarding kennel to him is not a scary place. It's a place where he literally grew up there because my rehab was part of that. So all those sound smells is nothing to him. So I'm like, I took him out on a leash like nothing happened, pottied him like nothing happened. Inside, was I freaking out? Yeah, but I was like, "Nope, just gonna nothing happened here. We're going in the building." And I had a pile of cookies and I'm like, "Look, I'm giving you cookies." I wasn't like, "It's okay. Here's a cookie. It's okay." No, just walked in the building, watched him like a hawk. Had he been like, "Huh, huh," I would not have walked him in the building. I would have dealt with it at whatever spot, but he was fine. He walked in, he's like, "Hey, I'm at work." Right? Kept giving him cookies, asked him for a down sit stand. He seemed perfectly fine. I didn't push it. I said, "Good job, buddy." Back in the car, right? Um, at that moment, I had a decision to make. Like, again, I knew his holds. Like, I've done wound care on humans for years when I way back in the day did wound care rounds. I've worked with a lot of dogs with injuries. I took him home. I looked at his holds. I put a cone on him. I'm like, "You know what? There is a chance they'll get infected. I know I need antibiotics, but I'm gonna take him to the vet tomorrow. I'm not going today. Because if I go today, I'm gonna compound the stress," right? Even though my vet's pretty good about, like, letting me be there with the dog and not taking it away. But I'm like, I just think he's gonna get stressed out. So, I went the next morning. So that day, I had nose work with Zaina. We went. I'm like, "We're going on our routine because I don't care if you can't search. If you feel like shit, you don't have to search. I just want you to feel like life is normal." Right? Like, cause life is normal. Cause if I start going, "You all right, buddy? Come out. Oh, are you okay? Oh, everybody, look, he got attacked today. Oh, poor Zesty, are you okay?" The dog's gonna be like, "What the fuck happened? Like, what is happening? Like, something weird is happening." So, no, I'm like, "Your life is fine." Right? Took him to the vet the next day. I was like, "Here's the deal. He is not going in the back. He is staying with me. I'm gonna lay him down," which I did. We did his wound, and I just ensured that the whole vet visit was very low pressure. Like, we took our time, there was no rushing him. I didn't force him down, I didn't let them force him down. I wanted everything just to be as chill as possible. So that seemed okay, and then, when he was I mean, the holds were a mess. It was, whatever. I just doctored it. God bless his heart, miracle of all miracles.
Yeah.
I would have bet everything I owned and said, "If he gets hurt, he will not let me work on him. I'm gonna have to medicate him. It's gonna be a disaster." He was so good. This dog let me pour peroxide into 3 gigantic holes in his
Oh God.
4 times a day, and, like, you know, squeeze pus out of it, all kinds of
Oh God.
craziness. Like, he was so good. He was so good with me. But so anyway, when he was at a point where he could like work again, I just said, "Okay, I'm going to do a moving stand with some of the people he knows the best." Right? Like my friend that worked for me for years that's babysat. What am I trying to say? Watched him while I was away, right? He loves her. So I did a moving stand with her, 0 problem. He was like, "Nope, I know what I'm doing," et
Mhm.
cetera,
Mhm.
right? Then did it with my training partners and so on. So I just did everything like, "You're gonna be fine." Now, deep down, I was mentally prepared that he could be washed out from obedience and rally. I had already prepared myself from that because I was like, if this dog is terrified or nervous or afraid or hears or sees something and wants to react with aggression, I'm out. Like, I am not putting this animal through this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
um, so but I was not going to act like that was going to happen. I
Right.
am going to act like everything is normal, right? And because my dogs trust me and my dogs are going to read me and they're going to feed off me. So I did that with training. I started in my yard and I made sure he was fine. And then I did it with my training group. And then I did it. So little by little, watching him like a hawk, but not in a nervous way. I just acted like everything was normal. And knock on wood, he ended up being perfectly fine. I, um, I went to a trial this weekend. Rally was the first day. I feel like rally dog wise is a little more chaotic. Um, he was perfectly fine, didn't care in the warm up, didn't care at all. Like happy as a clam in the ring. Obedience, I was worried because it is a little more quiet. You're leaving them alone a lot. Stuff happens behind them and around them.
Yeah.
But I did not let him know. I didn't act nervous. I didn't act, I had friends there that were keeping an eye out. I was very mentally prepared. I had a plan. You know, if he acts nervous, I'm going to immediately pull him. If he acts like this, I'm going to do that. If she comes in to do his stand for exam and he acts nervous, I'm going to ask him to do some tricks. Like I had a plan for everything, right? But as to me, that's my backup. But I conveyed, "We're having fun. Let's go, buddy. Wow, super buddy. It's all good." Got through the 2 classes. He was absolutely happy, happy, bouncy, pouncy. Was entered the next day, did not go because I was like, "I'm ending it on this. I'm just gonna build on this, and we're gonna move forward." So, I'm not saying that's the right answer for every dog in every situation. However, having been around other scenarios in person, up close, or seeing it from a distance, etcetera. Like, for example, one time this dog, the shepherd came in and it's like, "Rah!" I mean, it was really bad. It was very scary. And the dog in the ring got scared, and rightly so. The problem was the handler got all beside herself, right?
Mhm. Yep.
That made it worse. So finally, I yelled at the handler, "Stop it and act normal." She did. And like, it was so fascinating. It was like a switch flipped, and the dog all of a sudden did, was, I would say, about 85% better instantly. Not 100%, but 85% better
Right.
instantly. Just from the handler shifting from, oh my god, are you okay? Oh my god, I can't believe it," looking around, to focus on the dog. "Hey, buddy, you're fine. Get close. Let's heal. Let's move on."
Yep. And I'm just thinking about like I just remember being a vet tech and being in the room and like you had to instill that energy. You had to force yourself to have that type of energy in situations that became like heightened to whatever extent was going on. An aggressive dog in the room or whatever going on. Because the second, like, people have to remember, like, how intuitive the dogs are to us, especially to their person who they know so well, and especially because their person, that's gonna be their go-to, right? They're gonna
Mhm.
instantly be reading you is, "How should I be reacting to this situation?" Right? And
Mhm.
that, like, is critical. It is like being in a car accident, being rushed to the ER, and you're injured and you're panicky. But if you looked into your doctor's eyes and that doctor had calm eyes and spoke calmly to you, you're instantly going to feel better. It's the same thing. It's so hard to do in the moment. Like, kudos to you for being able to do that. Like, for your dog, knowing the lasting effects that could come onto your dog from this experience and knowing that it a lot of it will ride on your interpretation and your how you feel and present yourself in that moment for your dog. Like, that was amazing, Petra. Like,
Well, it's part of it is experience, right? Part of
yes.
it is genetically, I am that I will say I've always been a person that, when there's like when the whatever, something bad happens and everybody's freaking out, I'm always the calm in the storm. Like I hold it together, right? But having said that, a lot of it's experience. So, like you said, with the vet tech working in the rehab, my face, I am like in the dog's face, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
working on the dog, and a lot of times it's uncomfortable. So, if I want to be safe, I have better be good at reading dogs and at conveying calm. And I
yep,
have seen countless times where the owner makes the dog neurotic, and I have to be like, look, you need to go wait outside. Or the owner starts panicking and I say, "The owner, stop it. It's fine." The
yeah,
owner calms down, the dog calms down. I've
yeah,
seen where I can just take an extra 5 minutes, put my hands on the dog, take a bunch of really deep breaths and center myself, and the feel in my hands the dog respond to that, right? So all that experience, right? And just working with dogs that are nervous, that are aggressive, that are frightened, that are
yeah.
stressed out, right? The understanding that they, if I am calm, that's what's going to help them more than anything.
And one of the key things you talked about was you went into normal, familiar things to the dogs because the dogs rely heavily on that predictability and those constants in their lives, things that are recognizable to them. Like, if you had gone somewhere and pulled him out of the truck in a panic and did things like you've never done before with frantic
Mhm.
energy, he would have then, like, you're pairing all that to that
Mhm.
experience, right? But you didn't. Like, you were like, I'm going to go here. I know he's comfortable here. He's familiar with it. I'm going to go get this person who he totally trusts and is comfortable. We're going to just do the things that he normally would be doing, get him out, blah, blah, blah. um Super, super, super smart. I go back to too, like, I like to come up with all these little analogies to try to help people in kind of visualize like what we're talking about. And I always I'm a nervous flyer. I do not like to fly if I don't have to. I think many, many people don't like to fly. I'm sorry. It's If you love to fly, then you're one of those adrenaline freaks. Anyway, I know that, and I know this is in movies, I know people have talked about it, but for me personally, if I fly and there's like a weird sound or we, hit turbulence, what do? I immediately look at the flight attendant. I immediately go to her and I wanna read her face and her energy because that is where I'm gonna get my information from. It's kinda the same thing. Like, if I look at
Right.
that person and she's going about doing her normal things with her normal energy, I immediately gonna be, like, calm and fine about it. It's the same thing. Like, that's kinda what you wanna convey to your dog in that moment or post event so that your dog doesn't, you know
Right. And I also I didn't go to the trial and say to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, oh yeah, my
Yeah,
dog got a
yeah,
head
yeah,
attack.
yeah.
I hope he's okay. I didn't literally tell anybody. My training partner, one of my training partners there, she knew, obviously. Right. But I wasn't gonna like go down a rabbit hole because then it's only gonna make me more nervous. It's gonna add this weird energy to the room. And it's like,
Well, you're
what's the
making
point?
it a big yeah, you're making it
Yeah, I'm
bigger.
making it a big thing. And then it's gonna be a thing in my head. And I see people who will be like, yeah, 2 years ago, my dog got attacked, and I'm not saying it wasn't traumatic, and I'm not saying there aren't some dogs that don't recover. Let's be clear. But I'm saying there are a lot of situations where people will say that and they're like, yeah, now my dog's nervous. And I watch them and I'm like, your dog's not nervous at all. It's not. I'm like, no, it's fine. And you're like, you know what? You're right. they had created this thing in their head,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
We have to look at what's in front of us. And we also have to understand that our animals are incredibly resilient. Now, I do feel like I also have to give credit to his genetics, right? Because his genetics are, like generations of working dogs. And those dogs are tough and resilient animals. So I'm sure there is a component there as well. But I have seen other dogs, right, that are not, but they recovered fine. And they're like, la 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 la. And the owners, like 2 years later, still like PTSD, putting it on the dog. And it's like, but it's not there.
Yeah. Right.
You
Right.
know, it's not there. Let it go.
Right.
Right.
And that's to me when that happens and they don't let it go, it's just their own fear is
Hmm.
controlling their actions, right? And they're making things into things that are just not there. Which you're just gonna create garbage in your dog doing
Yeah, I
that.
mean, you have to be careful. Look,
Yeah.
it's so insane how careful I am. And it just goes to show it doesn't matter, right? Like, shit's gonna happen in life,
Yes.
no matter what, whether in every aspect of your life, you can do the right thing and tragedy will still strike. You can do the right thing and people still get sick. You can do the right thing and catastrophes still happen, right? Doesn't mean you shouldn't. Like, I've been very careful. I'm even more careful now. And now I have an array of things that have arrived at my house that have practically, I feel like an arsenal of weaponry, not literally, but like pepper spray, stun gun, this, that, the other,
Daddy.
Um, but the thing is, I am extremely careful, and I have been forever, as long as I can remember. And, I had a dog that was, had potential to be aggressive in certain situations. And I understand, like, how careful you have to be with that dog. I understand that people aren't careful, people don't care, whatever. It's just we have to be careful. But as careful as we are, look, case in point, stuff still happens. Now, am I like I went for our first hike since then today. I was a nervous wreck. I felt like I was gonna throw up. PTSD. No one was there. No cars, no one for miles, right? Um, Everything was fine. And I'm sure I will be ultra twitchy for a while. I'm always careful, but I'll probably be even more. But stuff still happens. We just have to, understand that stuff happens. And then we have to say, okay, what can I do to mitigate the damage here? Right?
You're right.
What can I do to move on from this? What could I do to support my dog, to
Right.
give my dog the best possible chance of recovering from this to the best possibility? Now, if he were genuinely at that point afraid of other dogs, I would have supported him to the best of my ability. I would have not put him in a situation where he was uncomfortable. I would have tried to see, could I train him through it? And if not, then not. And that's fine. At the end of the day, he's my pet. I want him to be healthy and safe and fine.
Yeah.
But I think more times than not, we can actually get them over it and out of it. I'm not saying every time because there's always going to be exceptions, but more times than not, if we're smart and if we hold it together, and maybe we can't on our own, maybe we need help, but then get someone to help you, but not someone that's going to go, oh my god, your dog is ruined, oh my god, we got to be careful, oh my god. No,
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
that's like, okay, let's read the dog,
yeah,
let's be smart,
yeah, look
let's
at the
come up with a
facts.
plan,
Yeah,
let's work on this mindfully and thoughtfully, and let's see what we can do, to mitigate what happened.
right, right. Yeah, because there's no predicting what the lasting effects are gonna be on the person or the dog. Like, you have no way of knowing that, but what you can do in the moment, which is hard too, is when you're like super adrenalized is I'm sure you assessed him immediately after you pried the dog off of him. He's still standing, or he got up, he's still alive, he's still breathing. Like
Right.
immediately you have to like check those boxes off. He walks away, he's still okay. Instead of immediately going into, oh, he's ruined, he's going to die, he's never going to be able to be around dogs anymore. That's where we want to go. Our emotional state wants to take us there immediately. Because we want to know, like, I think that's just our brain processing, like, oh my God, now he's going to be this, and now he's going to be this. Like, I think that's what people do.
Right. It's
You ca-
fear.
It's fear. It's fear. And it's really hard in the moment not to let that control you, right?
Yeah,
Be
and I felt all those things and thought all those things,
Sure you did.
but at the same time, again, based on experience, I knew that I was like, I cannot go down this road, right? I have to do damage control and I
Because
have to make
everything you did in the
decisions.
moment was impactful on your dog. Like, that's what people need to understand. Like, how you reacted in the moment and post event immediately was super impactful on the dog. 100%.
Yeah. So that's really the only reason I decided to bring it up and talk about it. Cause again, I don't want to relive it. I don't wanna go down the whole, "Oh, people are so terrible." We know all those things. We
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that dog shouldn't have been out in public, yada,
yeah,
yada, yada, whatever. That's
yeah.
not gonna accomplish
And
anything,
I'm
right?
sure tons of people listening, I'm sure everyone's got many people will have stories that, things that have happened to their dogs.
Right. And the
Um,
reality is, it is what it is, right? Every time I take my dog out in public, I'm taking a chance.
yeah,
That's
that's
reality.
correct.
So I either lock the dog in the house or I take it out and I take a chance, right?
Exactly.
Um, so but yeah, so and that kind of goes in line with just in general, and I know we've touched about this in past episodes, but it's really worth repeating because I see this with people that are getting puppies or that are getting, or things it doesn't necessarily have to be a bite or an attack or anything something happened to their dog in the past or whatever where we create these a story in a narrative in our head, and then it becomes confirmation bias where we gather evidence to support that theory, and that may not even be reality, right? Like I remember this is so funny. This is hubris. I was young. I thought I knew something, right? So I thought I was a good trainer. I did. I thought I was so clever. I got a puppy and I was like, I watch how well I train this puppy because I know shit now, right? So I have this puppy for like, I don't know, 6 weeks or something. And I'm doing all this stuff that I have learned and that I know now because I've had a couple dogs. And one day I'm in my backyard and I look down and I'm like, this dog doesn't know a single thing. Like literally, I've been training it for or 8 weeks. It doesn't know anything. It can follow a lure. What is happening? What is happening? Right. So I was not reading the dog. I wasn't paying attention to this animal in front of me, right? I was training and the dog was supposed to comply with what I had in my head. Well, guess what? It wasn't working. This dog was very different. Wasn't the training method I was using was not working at all, right? Um People get puppies and they're like, I'm not going to make the same mistakes as my last dog, or my last dog was really nervous. This dog's not, I'm going to make sure this dog's not. And they're putting all this stuff there. Is that even there? Are
Right.
we even looking at what's in front of us? Like what we think and believe is is not always what's happening.
Right. It's so true.
So you have to say like I'm sure there could have been moments where Zesty did something where I could have said, "Oh, look, he's nervous." I could have interpreted it as that. If that's where I was convinced he was at.
Right.
But
Right.
I said, "I am just going to read him." And because I didn't trust myself 100% because it was emotional,
Yeah.
for those first bunch of times, I did things with people I trusted. And I looked at them and they said to me, "He's fine." And I was like, "Okay, I'm reading this correctly." Right?
Right.
Like I needed
Right.
that little
Yeah.
hand holding, right? Like,
Yeah.
"Yep,
Yeah, to
you're
make
good."
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to read what was really happening, not something that I fabricated out of, my feelings
Yeah.
or
Right.
possibilities. This could possibly happen, therefore, let me look for that. Well, maybe now the dog twitches and it was a fly, and I'm like, "Oh god, are you okay?"
Yeah, because that just happened to you, so you must not be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
our brains are, often our worst enemies, like
They are. They are. It is, like, because it's like you think the thoughts and then they can become those thoughts.
yes, and then we create a reality around that.
Yep, we sure do.
Um,
We sure do.
did you say something happened today?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna another example, not near as serious as yours, obviously, but just another experience of, you know, how you need to try to handle yourself and I don't wanna say compose yourself, but it's hard because when incidents happen, our emotions get super heightened, right? And then we don't really control our reactions and then blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, this happened in my building today. I've got classes coming in and out, dogs coming in and out of rings. Um, and again, shit happens in life, right? Like there's going to be incidents, there's going to be accidents, there's going to just be things going on where there's dog on dog interactions that may not be positive. So, one of my students, after her class, she had a puppy with her. She took her puppy out just to play with it. Somebody else was in the other ring. They came into her ring with their dog. She wasn't really paying attention for an instant. Her puppy, flew toward the other dog. She had it on a leash. They both were on leash. The puppy's so fast, the other dog like kicked into prey drive, charged at the puppy. They didn't make contact. I think one of them, the puppy had a little saliva on the back. The dog wasn't being aggressive, but it became very heightened very quickly, right?
Mhm.
And of course, everybody's like, um, they pulled the two apart and immediately, the woman with the puppy was like, "Oh my god, are you?" And I said, "Don't do that. The puppy's fine because the puppy was fine. It was crawling up her leg. There was no blood. They didn't make contact. The dog didn't bite, the whole thing." And I said, "You need to just stand up. You need to say, 'With me, let's go,' and act like everything's fine," which was so hard for her to do. I
Mhm.
said, "Just act totally normal, walk away, walk out of the ring,
And
go
just
see."
start training the puppy. Like I
Yes,
would
and
just
just
be
go
just
do
start
something
training
you
it
were
like
totally
nothing
normal to
happened. Yeah.
do. Yeah, go ask for some hand
Mhm.
touches, and the puppy was fine. The puppy, like, it took a minute or 2, and then the puppy started doing her little things and doing little tricks, and she was back to being fine, but it was in that moment where especially a young puppy, right? Those are
Mhm.
like the post interactions and responses to incidents like that, like, they will get molded very quickly if we she had reacted incorrectly. I don't wanna say incorrectly, but
Right. Well, if you go, "Oh my god, are you okay?" The puppy's gonna go,
yes, and get
"See?
down. You are
Something
just
bad." Yeah, it's gonna
yeah,
go, "I knew, oh god, that really was bad and that was scary. Cause mom's saying it's scary. Oh god." And then it's gonna kinda get stuck there, right? Versus
exactly.
I'm the one that's gonna be like, "You're fine." It's just like I'm the kind my friends' kids are running, playing, they fall down. The second they hit the dirt, I go, "You're fine." I pick them up and I go, "Let's go." And I just start doing the next thing. And they're like, but I fell. I'm about to cry." And then they're like, "I guess I'm not crying." And it's
Yeah,
over.
and life goes on.
And life
Life
goes
goes
on
on.
and they're fine.
Yep.
And I'm like, if they fall, and I'm like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you hurt? Let me see." They're gonna go, "Ah," and I'm gonna go, "Let me see your hand. Let me see your hand. Ah." And I'm gonna make it. Now, look, again, I'm not saying if the kid falls and is seriously hurt, I'm gonna let it stand there bleeding out and just ignore it. But
And
I'm
that kind of
saying
fraction,
that,
you're yeah, you
you
assess it
know,
really quick, everything's
yeah,
fine, nobody's dying, let's go.
right, right. So it's that kind of thing. Like, okay. And then the kid just like, boom, it gets up, it's fine, it's all good. And it got to the point where the kid around me would be really, like, tough to the point where I would be like, "Are you okay? Like, that really looked like it hurt." "Nope, I'm fine." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh," I'm like, "Oh, you're good." But then as soon as, dad was around,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because, "Oh my god, are you okay? Oh my god, let me get a Band-Aid. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." Right?
Yeah.
So and look, in everyday life with my dogs, from when my dogs are puppy, I'm always like, "You're fine." The
Yeah.
second a puppy gets startled, I go, "You're fine." I start tossing cookies. I start doing the
Yeah.
touch it game. I
Everything's
have
fine.
all these like games and strategies, and I'm just like, "Nope, you're fine. Don't climb on me. You're good. It's all good." And then the dog's like, "Oh, oh, all right. I guess everything's fine." And knock on wood, I have never had a situation, and I have had a dog who is terrified of, like, wind blowing, like, literally everything under the sun, like, where the dog was like, "Okay, I guess everything's fine." Right? "Okay, I guess it's good."
Yeah.
Um, so you have to remember you're the anchor, right? You're the one that they're relying on.
Yes.
And we have to, kind of hold it together. And if we can't, we need to say in that moment, which is why I went to work, right? And I called Nicole out because I was like, if I take him out right now, I'm going to be shaking.
Yes.
My dogs do not see me in that state. That
Right.
does not happen, right? I don't want my dog to see me in that state. So I'm going to get help. I'm gonna
Yep.
get Nicole.
Yep.
She's gonna be cool, calm, and collected, and she's gonna handle it perfect. She's gonna be like, "It's all good," and my dog's gonna go, "Oh, it's Nicole. Nicole's fine. Everything's good." Right? So if you can't do it, get somebody to help you. Right? But um, don't go down the rabbit hole. If you're the person that's in control and someone, a friend or a training partner or somebody near you is freaking out, just go, "Here, it's okay. Right? Here, let's do this. Why don't we do that? Here, give the dog a cookie. Tell the dog, stand up. Don't go down the ground. Act like everything's fine." Help them out. Be the one, you be the anchor, versus because what happens is exactly what you said. Everybody else is like, and then it makes the handler feel worse, the dogs, right? It just, like, the
God.
whole thing gets crazy. So hold
Just
it together, people, hold it together.
hold it together. It's hard. It's really hard. It's hard.
It's very hard, but
Well, I'm glad Zesty's
yeah.
okay. Poor
Yeah,
guy.
no, thank God he's okay, and,
Oh,
that's how I look at it. Things could always have been
yeah.
worse.
Right.
Um, Now I'll be even more prepared, right? But realistically, I have to keep reminding myself, like, you know, shit's gonna happen,
Yeah.
because there's also that tendency to blame ourselves, like second guess. Could I have done something different? Should I have done
Right.
something
Of
different?
course. Of course.
But I'm like, I have been, all over the country with my dogs in a thousand different scenarios for decades, and nothing's happened. Sooner or later, something's going to happen unless I lock them in my house. Right. And that's not
Right.
quality
Right.
of life. And I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and, we can rant and rave about those people with
Yeah,
those irresponsible people, but that's not going to accomplish anything because those irresponsible people are still going to be there.
they
You
are.
know,
That's life. That's life.
that's life. And so all we can do is do the best we can in the moment and do the best we can to manage um what happens after. And like I said, worst case scenario, and had he not been able to work, right? I would still have been so grateful that he didn't get killed, that he didn't get hurt worse, that like every it could so many I could have gotten hurt really
Yes,
badly,
right.
especially shoving my hand in this dog's mouth to open
I know,
its
that was the first
jaws
thing I said
because
to you. I was like, "Oh, dude."
there was no other choice at that moment. I don't recommend anyone do that ever. It is not the thing you should
Last report.
ever do, right? But it was literally a last resort, and I had no other choice because it was on his neck. He was not letting go. He had put major holes in him. The guy was not able to do anything, and I did not have a choice at that moment in time, and I was literally even in that moment, I knew, I was like, "Oh dear God, this is gonna be bad."
Yeah,
Um, I was just fortunate that it didn't get that bad, right? And so now I'm gonna have my little stun gun thing because I felt like if I could have done that, the dog would have let go, right?
right,
And I could
right.
have done that without sticking my hand in there, which I would
Yeah, yeah,
not like
yeah.
to do again. Um, right. Pepper spray would not have been a good option in that moment because it would have gotten all over Zesty's face, and I don't see how it would have been tricky because it was
Yeah,
so, I still have it now because I feel like if a dog's running if I can see it happened so fast, I don't think I would I don't I know I wouldn't have gotten it out in time, but that little stunny thing would have helped get him off. So, that's life.
yeah,
Onward and upward.
yeah. Yeah, and, you're like, when you said, I went hiking. Would you go hiking today or recently? And you were a nervous wreck. Like, that's to be expected too. Like, your confidence has gotten shaken a little bit by, your security of being safe. Like, that's everything. That's
Yeah,
like being attacked in a dark hallway. Every time you go down a dark hallway, you're going to think of that, you
you're
know?
gonna be yeah. And eventually it'll be fine and I'll be
Yeah.
back,
Yeah, it'll diminish for sure.
'cause it's a numbers game, right? It's just a numbers game. The more years you have dogs, the more dogs you have, the more things are gonna happen, right? Um, that's just the way it is. And that's just the way life is. But yeah, so and I'm aware of that. So I'm just gonna have to work through it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
My dogs were fine. They didn't care. I was like, oh God.
Right.
They weren't nervous. So um dogs are amazing creatures, really. Um, they really are. And for the most part, they do live in the moment. And for the most part, they do recover
They
from
do.
things really quickly. And I mean, oh my God. So I'll tell this one last story real quick. So there's this little dog, Leo. I don't know. He's not even I think he's like 5, 6, 7 pounds, just this little mutt, right? So anyway, um rescue comes in. Oh, we have this dog was found somewhere. It was horribly abused. It had wire tied around its leg so tight that it damaged the bone. It had multiple fractures everywhere. It was messed up. And so a woman pulled it to foster it, and they were like, we have to amputate the leg. And she went to and she was wait she had the appointment, she sat in the office, and then there was a delay. And so while she was sitting there waiting, she's like, "You know what? I don't know. I don't know if I should have this dog's leg amputated." So she leaves, and she found me at the time I was doing physical therapy on dogs. So we're rehabbing this dog, right? I mean, she showed me the x-rays. Like, it was horrifying. And this tiny little dog, right? That dog is so my friend Nicole, who manages my kennel, she ended up adopting him. She still has him. This dog is the happiest dog in the planet, the most affectionate dog to every single human being. He was at work all the time. So people would come in, "Where's Leo?" They would take Leo. He would burrow himself into you. Like, that is to me, and people go, "Oh, the poor dog." I'm like, "The poor dog, he doesn't like, he let it go." You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like, he has let
they
it
do. They
go
let it go. They let all that
to
go.
the nth degree, and he is so happy living such a good life, like living the best life ever on the planet Earth, like the best life. And he trusted everybody, you know? And that's just another example of like a dog that how resilient they are, right? And he ran around and like, yeah, it's a little gimpy, but he ran around and he just he wasn't afraid of anything really. He ran around the therapy like he didn't care. He was fine. He was fine. So, it's just amazing. Like, they are, and I think that most of the time, again, there are exceptions, they recover
I
and
do
we
too.
don't.
I do too. I do too. I agree.
All right. So that's our story.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure, you don't
Well,
want
I don't like to dwell on it. Like, it's done. So don't anybody, like, it's over, move on, everybody. But
to
I
move on.
just thought, if there's something, there's a
Well,
lesson there at all. My
yes.
one student was like, "There's gonna be a lesson there," and at the moment I was like, "There is no lesson. This should never have happened." My poor dog. But there's always a lesson, right? So she's right. You're right, Debbie. There's a lesson. There it is.
All right.
All
That was
right,
good.
bye everybody.
Bye. Thanks.